Welcome to We Are Pius, the podcast where faith meets formation and our Thunderbolt community speaks from the heart. I'm Jeremy Eckler, Chief Administrative Officer of Pius X High School in Lincoln, Nebraska. On each episode of We Are Pius, we'll sit down with the people who make this place more than a school. They make it a faith-filled family. From educators and coaches to students, alumni, and leaders, we're exploring how Catholic education at Pius transforms lives, builds character, and shapes our future. Whether you're a parent, a parishioner, or a proud graduate, you're invited into the conversation. So let's get started. Today's guest is Father Matthew Kovar. Father, how are you?
Hey, doing well.
Great. Thanks for coming.
You bet.
Now you're probably tired just coming off the retreat.
Yeah, just in Steubenville for the last few days, about 4,000 students from across the Midwest, and we had a good 4 charter buses go from the Lincoln area. So it was a beautiful, but also a very long weekend.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. My daughter Charlotte was on the journey as well, and it's a very moving experience. The retreat programs at Pius are huge, connecting with some of these retreats that are from the outside, like Steubenville, is also just a real blessing for our students.
Yeah, and it gives them another opportunity to get out of the state, go to a different campus, and meet kids from other areas just besides the Lincoln City area. So.
Yeah. Well, the reason we're having you on today is because we're starting these introductions of everything new, basically, here at Pius. And while you're not new to Pius, some of your work this year will be as you work in what we're calling the administrator in training role, which is kind of the jack of all trades, picking up duties. And we're really excited to have you. Are you excited to join us and take the ride here?
I am. I have no idea what this is really going to entail because I'm kind of stepping into this position. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to learning and seeing what the future holds.
Yeah. And your excitement for Pius and your love for teaching and administration is really admirable. Can you tell everybody just a little bit about the things you'll be doing? We talked just a little bit about administrator and training and taking on some of the roles, joining the meetings, giving insights on some of the policy and directions of the school. But on the day-to-day, what will you be doing here too?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is I'll still be teaching freshman theology, and that's going to be really important this year because the diocese is rolling out their brand new curriculum, which, hasn't been touched in, I want to say, like 12 or 15 years. So this is really big for the diocese, and so I'm really excited to present that to the kids and be working with Jeff Shinstock, who's been kind of spearheading this project. So that'll be really big. It's still teaching, and that's something I really wanted, not just because I love it, but I think it's also important for school administrators to still have that connection with the students, and also just be familiar with what the teachers are doing on the front lines.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about the supports we're providing for all of our teachers, but especially our priests and religious. There's been workshops led here in the diocese by Father Sizza and by Jeff Shinstock on pedagogy and the new curriculum. This week we'll start some, and this is being recorded in mid-July, but we're starting workshops here at the Pius level led by Karen Bonkwich to prepare our priests, give them the lay of the land even more, just providing supports to make sure that they're as ready as possible in the classroom. I think that's really important.
I agree. And yeah, that's something that a lot of the priests haven't really had the opportunity to explore much of. And we spent 8 years of seminary studying theology, but then when it comes down to the practicals of being in the classroom and working with kids and parents, it's not something we're trained in. So to give them an opportunity to get the resources and tools that they need to be successful and really ensure that Catholic education is being handed on very efficiently and impactfully to the kids.
Yeah, it's a big goal of ours, right? Is one of the things I talk a lot about with the community is forming tomorrow's Catholic leaders and having the priests, the religious, the theology piece, breathing with both lungs, right? Like knowing our theology, but having a relationship with Christ. We talked about that with the retreats, really getting to know Jesus. We see that mostly through witness, but also having the theology, understanding the faith, understanding the teachings is so important. But before we go too far down the path, let's kind of get to know you a little bit too. Where are you from? Where'd you go to school? What was your journey to get here?
Yes, I grew up out in the country outside of David City. We call that area the Bohemian Alps, just due to the sheer amount of hills out there, which is kind of abnormal for Nebraska. So yeah, growing up in the country, I, of course, didn't have a lot of friends or neighbors out there. And so school was really important to me because that was my foundation for my community, my relationships, my friends. So I grew up really enjoying going to school. Went to St. Mary's Elementary School and then Aquinas High School. And that's kind of where I actually found my love for education. Just loved learning, loved reading, and I had the most amazing science teacher. Her name was Alyssa Gilger, and she wasn't even Catholic, and yet she found ways to incorporate the faith into her science classrooms. And so that inspired me to want to be a science teacher. And so that's when I went to Wayne State College for a year, tried to pursue that passion, that degree, and then God had other plans for me.
Yeah, I mean, David City is, so my mom's from David City. My great uncle, Doc Eckler, is from, I think he delivered like 90% of Butler County at one point. Everybody knows someone from David City. We got the Whistlers, Mazers. I mean, this is God's country. So,
oh yeah, good place to grow up, and we're starting to see a lot of the young families go back there too.
Absolutely,
really cool as it's growing.
Yeah, I've still got cousins and aunt and uncle back there. My uncle Tom drove the bus for like 30 years for Aquinas. So, yeah, it's great to see the community growing again, and yeah, just a beautiful, rich Catholic environment there as well. So, you said Wayne State,
yeah,
and at some
Wildcat.
point, yeah, there you go. At some point, the priesthood started calling. Well, God started really calling you to the priesthood.
Yes. Yeah, so I was always used to being around priests. Like even growing up, my family had the tradition of always having priests over for dinner. We had a priest that lived just a few miles away in Bruno, and he would call just on a random Saturday morning, say, hey, I'm on my way for breakfast. And so I got to see the human dimension side of the priests, but that was never something I really desired for myself or wanted to pursue. Kind of had my own dream that I wanted to follow. And so, yeah, going to Wayne State, that was not my desire, was to pursue the priesthood. But I ended up meeting a girl who reached out to me, and she kind of fell away from the faith and wanted to kind of have a fresh start. And so we started meeting up together. We went to Mass every day together, started praying together, doing holy hours. And she also was kind of struggling with the demonic at that point too, which was something that I was not well versed in, and rightly so. So kind of encountering just spiritual warfare as well had a really big impact on me. But just walking with her through that journey made me realize that I had a love and a passion for helping people fall in love with Christ. And she had a huge impact on my prayer life too. So I was at the point where I realized I was Catholic my whole life. I knew all the stuff, but I didn't really have a relationship to show for it. I didn't really know Christ as well as I thought I did. And so she opened that door for me, and we walked together and explored that together.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I found that love for the priesthood. And that also really ticked me off because I didn't want to be a priest. I saw what God was trying to do. And so I really fought him. I ran and got to the point where eventually, just with my little science background, I made a bet with him, asked for 4 signs, and he delivered every single one in the order I asked. Wow. And so a deal was a deal. And I told him I'd join seminary, and I'm glad I did. I know that's not the best way to discern your vocation, but for me, at the time of my life, that was the only way I was really going to buckle down and give it a serious try. And I'm glad I did.
Wow. You mentioned this young woman that you connected with. Who are some of the priests or the people that help shape your vocation? We talked earlier about, the witness being the most important thing. We want to breathe with both lungs, knowing our faith, but also having that relationship. Who are some of those people that express that to you?
Yeah. So the most recent, Monsignor Adrian Herbeck was huge. I mean, he's been in Butler. He was in Butler County for 30, 40 years of his priesthood. So he was my pastor for the most part growing up, and just the way he modeled the priesthood, the joy that he had, the way he did the sacraments was really impactful. And also Father Ronald Holmes, he's quite a character, and he's been teaching his entire priesthood. And so he was really influential for me at Aquinas, especially doing like the canoe trips and everything else with him.
Those are a huge deal.
Just kind of seeing a priest in like a non-professional or basically informal way, just seeing like they're a normal human being with their normal quirks, and that is so refreshing to see. So he was really big, and also Father Joseph Steele was the one that really got me into my prayer life in high school, and we got together with only like 6 other classmates, and we started the very first campus ministry, you could say, at Aquinas. Since then, it's grown to about 40 kids. So it's really taken off. That was fun, kind of just getting together and figuring out our faith with him as our leader and guide.
And Pius has just done a tremendous job of inspiring young people to the vocations. I think we're almost to the point where we have someone in the religious life that averages 1 for every year of Pius's existence. I didn't say that well, but basically, since we've existed, we've almost averaged 1 per year. Obviously, some years more than others, but over the stretch of time. And that makes me think we've got kids in this building right now who are going to discern this way, and I think there are plenty of them. What were some of the things, the challenges that you dealt with, some of the thoughts you dealt with that what some of our listeners or the parents of our listeners should take into account as their kids are discerning this?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is just that fear of the unknown. I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of entering into a spiritual life and really getting to know God, is they never know what they're going to be asked to do or even asked what to give up. That was probably the hardest thing for me was I already had my life figured out, I was praying for my future wife every day through high school by saying a rosary. And so that was something I didn't really want to let go of. Um, but I think the biggest thing we can do and should do is we need to place our relationship with Christ first. I think a lot of kids have it backwards, where they want to figure out what their vocation is in life, and then that's going to tell them how to love God. But I kind of learned throughout my experience is that it doesn't really matter what vocation you have. God doesn't change. You're still loving the same God.
Wow.
And so if we can figure out a relationship with him first, then he's going to naturally lead you into the specifics of how to live that out in your vocation. But we really need to prioritize that relationship first.
Wow. And how long since your ordination? How long have you been a priest now?
Yeah, so I'm entering into my 5th year.
So who else was in your class that people might know?
Father Dale Alder. That is it.
Father Alder, yes.
Yes. So we actually entered St. Greg's with one of the biggest entering classes in the history of our diocese. And then most of them left. So it was just the 2 remaining once it
Love
came
Father
time for
Dale. He was at Cathedral in my parish.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Father Dale, who's now in the Wahoo area.
Yeah.
Was teaching here at Pius last year. We miss you already. One last thing I think on this topic, and then we'll kind of move into another phase here, but how has your understanding of the vocation changed over the years? You had these great role models, you got this calling, you put the relationship with Jesus first, but there's got to be some practicalities and realities. You're like, that's almost surprising to me.
Yeah, because I think for a lot of us, we only see our priests on Sundays, and then we only talk to them for the 10 seconds afterwards, and we shake their hands, then we move on. And so we tend to just see the priests in that formal professional light. But what I've learned, especially just being involved in a school, is that the priesthood really thrives with those personal connections. It's really familial. And so for me, my favorite part of the priesthood is the fatherhood aspect of being able to get to know the kids, walk with the kids, watch them grow up, and just being that support system for them. Because I think in this day and age, everyone's really craving for that desire to be loved. And I mean, no family is perfect. And so just to have that extra support from the church that you have, Mother Church there with her sacraments, but also that fatherhood aspect of just having that other manly presence in their life who can acknowledge them and appreciate them and walk with them.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
That's really beautiful. And I think when I talk to families who are new to the diocese, I had a meeting with a family from Iowa on Friday, and then my in-laws just moved here from the Twin Cities. The 2 things they always talk about in this diocese, and in particular at Pius. Number 1, tuition's so low. How in the heck do you do it? We barely do it, but we do it. Yes, tuition is so low; it's accessible to everyone. Number 2, just the rich environment, both in terms of formation and number of priests, sisters, religious in our schools, and it's something that I just do not want anyone to take for granted. Because in my previous work with the Catholic Conference, traveling around the state, traveling around the country, I would go into schools all over the country, and you would not see the vibrancy of the faith life or the religious in our building. So I just want to thank you and your brothers and sisters who have made this commitment to the Lord and really to Catholic education, which I know Catholic education is something you're super passionate about. So very excited to have you as administrator in training and all the things that means that we know and don't know right now. Speaking of the work, though, one of the reasons I brought you on was because our administrative team, all of us, so myself, Principal Jen Tron, Assistant Principal Aaron Major, Assistant Principal Josh Kirkwood, Activities Director Trevor Johnson, Director of Guidance, Director of Counseling, Mrs. Jess Pasoda, yourself. Did I miss anybody? That's the team, right?
I think Father Sizza technically.
Father Sizza joined us as well, to help us out. He's the education specialist for the diocese. He came and we had a retreat, an immersive retreat in Nebraska City at the Lee Lodge. And it was, I thought, a really powerful experience that sort of started with some social time. We had a beautiful prayer time in the morning outside the lodge as well, led by Father Sizza, actually. When you think back on that retreat and think of the work we did, how would you define kind of what we were trying to do there together?
Yes, I'd say the number 1 thing on our list was just to get to know each other. There's just so many new faces and new dynamics and new frustrations that come with that. I've always been told that the best thing about every job and also the worst thing is just working with people. And so just getting to know each other and get to how each other think, how we operate, just kind of building that familial aspect is going to be really important for us, because we can sit here and you can bring a whole group of professionals together, make all these big decisions. But at the end of the day, I think what's going to make the biggest impact is can we work together and actually support each other? And that's going to bleed over into the rest of the school too.
Yeah, this idea of a faculty of friends is a big deal to me. I mean, all the professional development in the world is great, but unless you really care about the people you're working for, the mission, and the people you're working with, it can be a drudgery. And we really need Pius to be a place where this is another piece I talk about, a community school. That includes our teachers, faculty, and staff loving each other, supporting each other, getting to know each other. There's so many new faces on this admin team. This idea of coming together was great. And just to give a little bit of the lay of the land, that idea of getting to know each other started in prayer. Then we went to sort of our philosophy of education, our inspiration for Catholic education. Then we began to dive deeper as the day went on into more policy-related things. But all those things were founded or came back to our philosophy, our mission. So as we built the day, even though we got more granular, everything tied back to, I think, two things. Number one, our mission. And number two, where were our working geniuses, which we're going to talk a little bit about here in a second with you. And this is a Patrick Lencioni idea. But as the day got to its conclusion, one of the interesting things I thought was we were all sort of standing up and excited about potential policy change after about 10 hours of meeting. You remember that moment?
I do, yeah. And that was crazy because usually everyone, I think it's pretty universal. Nobody likes meetings. However, yeah, the fact that we were together for 10, 11 hours that day and yet we left happy. And I remember driving home and I was like, I wasn't even tired. I actually really enjoyed that whole time together, which is crazy to think like, yeah, a 10-hour meeting is actually fun.
Yeah.
You know, usually you don't hear that in the workforce. So I think that really speaks highly of our team and of the relationships and the commonalities that we share.
We was just really energized. And as a matter of fact, our families showed up for dinner to join us. And we had just kind of like a fun, wild, crazy buffet dinner to wrap things up. But even then it was hard not to talk about to talk about work a little bit,
right? Because
of the level of excitement. I thought the way that day built was really good because, again, you know, starting in prayer, going to the big picture, and then getting more granular as the day went on to the point where we were looking at lines in the handbook, everything being formed by our foundation. But one thing that you really encouraged us to do, Father, was to look at the working genius model. Could you tell folks a little bit about what that is and why? I think you experienced it at your parish.
So when I moved to North American Martyrs, about a year and a half ago as their assistant, they were already halfway through a new revision program for the parish. So the pastor realized that at North American Martyrs, we have an incredible gift where the people are very involved. And we have a lot of groups doing a lot of incredible, great things. The only issue is we like to do things just to do things. And so he wanted to find a way to bring everyone together to that common purpose. And so
this is Father Hall, correct?
This is Father Nathan Hall.
Yeah,
so shout out to him.
Shout out to Father Hall, and it's really great bringing this in. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
I want to make sure we got him in there because this is a great idea.
Yes, and he worked with Alex Rodriguez, so another shout out, and she does this for a living now, has her own company. And we were able to get together and rework our mission and vision, which is how we were going to base everything on the parish off of those two pillars. Because we really wanted to give purpose behind what we were doing. That way we're not just doing things to do things. We actually have an intentionality behind it. And so she introduced us to this model by Patrick Lencioni, and he's a great Catholic. And he came up with this model because he realized that every project we do, it could be as big as reworking an entire organization. It could be something as small and simple as planning your family vacation or even going to the grocery store. But whatever task you're doing, you have to go through these 6 stages. He uses the acronym called WIDGET. And so the W stands for wisdom, basically saying what's the big question we need to tackle or what's a problem that we need to address. So they're just seeing the big picture. And then we have the inventors who come up with the solutions. They like to come up with ideas, different ways to move forward. And then the discerners step in and they will look at all of those answers and say, well, I think these don't work and these will, or perhaps these need to be tweaked before we move forward. And then that's kind of like the first half or the prep stage on how you address the project. And then we move into the second phase, which is the remaining 3. And that would be the galvanizers, or kind of like the batteries behind the operation. They're the ones who give us the energy and the momentum to move forward with the project. And we have the enablers who are willing to just kind of walk with the people. And it's not that they're taking on other people's work, but they are just kind of stepping in when they need that boost and they need that extra hand. So they're kind of always there to help. And then finally, you have those people who love tenacity and they just want to get the job done and check it off their list. They like to really drive something to completion. And so the beauty of this whole model is that he wants work to be enjoyable, because we have to go through these 6 stages no matter what. But if we can figure out what he calls our geniuses are, there's going to be 2 out of those 6 that every person tends to lean more towards. If we can organize our responsibilities around those 2 geniuses, then we're going to not only enjoy our work, but it's going to be much more fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually saw that during the meeting, where there came a point when we were listing out all of our responsibilities, and they were going through saying, well, I love this part about my job, or I love this task I was given.
I remember this, yes.
But then there's also the other side of the working genius, where he identifies the frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that anybody can do, has nothing to do with your personality or skill set, but they just don't find enjoyment in doing certain parts of the steps of widget. And so it was kind of funny how someone mentioned, well, we have this event coming up and it really needs to be overhauled, but this is not something I really want to do. And then someone else stepped in and said, oh, well, I would love to do that if you want to do the state reports.
Mm-hmm.
And the person said, yes, I would love to just sit there, check it away, and send it in the mail.
Yeah.
So it's funny how they were just naturally dealing with those frustrations, and there was no conflict.
No, there was none. Really cool. We realigned probably half a dozen items that we did not know were creating such frustrations for some people, while the person in the office right next door was saying, like, I would love to do that.
Right.
And we were able to just to say, yeah, let's swap, let's do it. And that was probably part of the energy behind the meeting, actually, too.
I agree.
Like I've got a voice in this, and I'm aligning my passions or my interests or it's not really a strength finder, right?
Right.
But I'm aligning these things with what I really want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So we each did take the test, I guess, from Lencioni. And one of the interesting features of the Working Genius for our team was that we actually, and again, it's not a strength finder so much as it's telling you what gives you energy, what you're fine with, and then what kind of sucks your energy away. So what makes work more fun and enjoyable, what you're fine with, and then what makes work drudgery. We actually had, we filled every category with our staff, which I don't know how you can pull 6 or 7 people together and fill everything in that balance. That was almost like, to me, providential. Holy Spirit moment's incredible.
Yeah, because like at our team at North American Martyrs, we were missing, I think it was invention. And so that would have been really frustrating because somebody would have had to take on that responsibility. And so we were encouraged to go out and find someone to join the team that actually had that genius. Otherwise, it does kind of take a burden if we're constantly stretching ourselves to fill in for those missing gaps. So that was quite a surprise and also a blessing to see that we had everything covered. Yeah.
And there are like a million of these tests out there, different strength finders and things. Really encourage people to check out Patrick Lencioni, Lencioni, because he is a faithful Catholic. He's done some amazing stuff for businesses, for teams. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is a book I use all my years of collegiate coaching, for families. And now this table group, he calls it, with the Working Geniuses, is awesome. Great little podcast. So we're invested in this Working Genius piece because just in our first meetings, we saw the benefit and got so much traction and cohesion. What do you think going forward? How do you think we can use it? What are you going to bring to the group again when we meet later on this?
Yeah, so I've been exploring some different options as to how we can dive deeper into the Working Genius, because it's always a danger to bring in a new model or bring in a personality test, then we just kind of leave it on the side and just move on.
Everyone does it, yes, and then just moves on. But we really want to get this roots,
Yeah, so I really want to find a way to incorporate this into everything we do. So in fact, I've been reaching out to Alex Rodriguez to see if she'd be interested in working, because she's never worked with a school before.
Yeah.
And I remember working with her in a parish. I asked her if she ever had any interest in working with a school, and I was hoping someday we could kind of make that happen for her. So that's an option. And I've also been reaching out to Patrick Lencioni's team as well to see what opportunities they have, just to get some more of that professional development. But yeah, I'd say the more we can use it, the more we can rely on it, and just the more that we're aware of it.
Yeah.
It's going to have a pretty big impact.
That's great. Just something coming from someone who's authentically Catholic that we can apply here at Pius, creating that community, that faculty of friends. I'm excited at the potential of this, and I really want to thank you for all your work with this in this role and also on the Working Genius piece. But we are the Thunderbolts, and we need to do a lightning round. Are you ready for this lightning round, Father?
Yes, I think so.
All right. Big sigh. Here we go. And actually, even though we say lightning round, there's no time on this, so we'll just do the best we can.
Perfect.
Lightning round question number 1. Who is your favorite saint right now? Who are you connecting with that the rest of us could connect with?
Yeah, so one of my all-time favorites is Saint Gemma Galgani.
Nice.
she is just a beast when it comes to spiritual life. She really struggled with her spiritual life. And so, especially with her prayer life, and God gave her the gift to see her guardian angel. And so that was really cool. And she also had a lot of interactions with the demonic, and a lot of exorcists have used her, and they despise her, absolutely despise her. So she's very effective for those who are struggling with a habitual sin, or even just struggling.
The demons despise her. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're not happy with her. So she is just a very small, innocent girl. Died really young, but absolutely a powerhouse when it comes to spiritual life.
I've had this recent devotion to Chiara Badano, and also young girl powerhouse. That's why I love that. That's great. So our Thunderbolts need to definitely start praying to Gemma. And how about your favorite Bible verse?
Yes, my favorite Bible verse is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 4. And it says, "In your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding your blood." And what I love about that is I think we're just, in our culture today, it's so easy to give up. And so just looking at my own spiritual life, it's like, am I actually fighting for God, fighting for my faith, my relationship with him, to the point of shedding my blood and even kind of living that martyr's life? So that's just a good daily reminder for me to absolutely give my all, no matter the cost.
That's awesome. One of the most beautiful things about the Pius community is that we are connected in prayer. And this is your opportunity to tell us who or what you're praying for right now, so we can join you in prayer.
Yeah, so especially coming off this retreat this weekend at Steubenville, I've been praying a lot just about the students here at Pius and the kids. This last year I've been doing a lot of spiritual directions as well, and just encountering the kids in different activities, talking to them in the classroom, in the hallways. It's tough with this generation because they are carrying things that they shouldn't have to carry at their age. And so just the fatherhood in me really encourages me to pray for these kids and pray for them every day.
Yeah, and one of the real blessings, I think, at Pius here too, is we have chaplains for basically every one of our programs. And I know we're in lightning round, but you want to talk quickly about your chaplain work?
Yeah, so I am pretty much the chaplain for the entire arts department.
Yeah.
I did a lot of theater and speech growing up, and so I've always had a passion for the arts.
Yeah.
And so, I love going to the practices, the rehearsals, the tryouts. I travel with the show choir team to their events, just trying to be as present as I can to the kids, because the more you're present to them, that's how you can build their trust, and you can actually start having those conversations.
Yeah, and I just bring that up because this idea of the things our kids are going through, this is not something in theory. I mean, this is something because you're chaplaincy that you're with these kids all the time.
Right. And
we really appreciate that as well. So, and that's a big department as well. So that's great. Next lightning round question is, who is your hero?
That's a tough one. I'd say my hero is probably St. Joseph. Just always that quiet, fatherly presence, but yet always so supportive. And to be able to live with the Blessed Virgin and Christ child, I can't even imagine what that would have been like, the intimidation factor, and yet he still woke up and served them every single day and tried his hardest, So he was just, he's always been kind of my hero and my idol in living out my priesthood.
That's really cool. That's St. Joseph was sort of a theme when we interviewed or talked with activities director Trevor Johnson as well, so I can definitely see St. Joseph sort of blessing everything we're doing here. It's great. 2 left in this lightning round. What's one thing you want the Thunderbolt community to know about you?
Just my presence. You're going to see me at pretty much everything. And I love being here at Pius and being at the school. I'll even pull sometimes 10, 12-hour days, and I go home again, not tired. I just love living here, being with the kids, being with the faculty. I'm just living in that education world. So, if you see me at places, feel free to say hello. Love to get to know the community more.
That's awesome. And the last one is, the best part about being a Thunderbolt is?
Definitely having theology classes, I think. I think that is really the best part about Pius, about being a Thunderbolt, is just the amount of priests and religious that we have here that are with the kids every single day, sharing what they love the most, which is our Lord.
That's beautiful. That's great. Well, thank you for this time. Thanks for letting us get to know you, for talking through the Working Genius, for having the conversation about our recent administrative retreat. Appreciate your time. And to the community here, thanks for joining us on We Are Pius. If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it with someone who loves Pius and Catholic education as much as we do. We are blessed to be bolts, and until next time, do your best to restore all things in Christ. Very nice. We did it together again. Thanks, everybody.